Alright, hello and welcome to this tutorial. To start, we have a 16 by 20 primed canvas. Primed, I mean I've got a coat of titanium white on this that has fully dried. You can use a gesso, you can use a titanium white, whatever you like. Now I'm mixing up some white, black, and I've got a little cerulean blue. You can choose any color that you like. I'm going to add a little water, and I have a little water on my flat brush. I'm going to take my flat brush and go over my canvas just to get a little water on the surface before I start. This is just a very light coat of water. Now mixing up my ground. What I'm going to do is create a ground color, which is my background for this painting. And I want it to have just a little bit of a light gray tone with just the tiniest bit of a blue undertone. So that's what I have by mixing up those three. I'm going to actually mix some more here. I've got white, that's just a titanium white, and I'm going to put just a little bit of a basic black, just a drop. With black, a little goes a very long way, so I'm literally just going to drop a little onto my palette, that much. If you want a deeper tone in your background, then you can of course add more. And then my cerulean blue, I'm just putting a little bit. So black, mostly white, and a little cerulean blue. You can use any blue you have on hand. It'll just change the tone of it a bit. I want sort of a cool tone versus any green in it. Cerulean doesn't have that. And I'm mixing that up with my brush. You can mix it with a palette knife or whatever you have on hand. I just want to get a good basic background color. Alright, so I still have a little bit of white, or not white, but water on my canvas. So I'm just going to put that down in a nice even coat. I'm getting a little bit of variation of color because I used my brush to mix my paint, which is fine because I'm going to smooth it out anyway. If you wanted to have a perfect gray or a perfect whatever color it is you're mixing without any variation of color, always use another tool besides your, I just put a mist of water on my canvas, besides your brush that you're using. Use something else to mix. That's one thing. If you use the brush that you're going to paint with, your brush will capture various bits of color within the hairs, so a little blue here, a little black there, and that will come out in the surface of your painting. If you don't mind that, you can use your brush to mix your paint. I often do that because I like that variation of color. But if you don't want that, use a spoon or a palette knife or something, mix it, and then introduce your brush. So I just want to get a nice coat of this down because this is our background base layer. And then we will be coming over it with our other colors after it dries. And I am going to let this dry for 24 hours before I introduce my next layer of color, which is very important to let your painting dry thoroughly, or you will be sorry when you try to cheat the system and put paint on top of paint that hasn't dried fully. What happens is, since acrylics are water-based, and you will often use a little water, when you're introducing them to your canvas, if you apply anything with water over paint that hasn't fully dried, the water will eat through the paint and you will end up with a patchy surface, which is what I'm getting right now for some reason, in certain areas. And you never want to spray a painting with your mister bottle that hasn't fully dried. And by fully dried, I mean days of drying, like a week. You know it's dry, and then you can comfortably mist over paint that's been laid down. Even then, I really wouldn't suggest it. I would always suggest adding water to your palette or your brush versus putting down a mist of paint over, a mist of water over your paint. Even if you know it's dry, it's a risky move. I've had that happen. It will eat little bits of paint. And if you've watched any of my tutorials, you know that I do sort of preach that, because it will happen. All right, so what I have here is a good ground. It has a little bit of patchiness, but that's okay, because I'm going to come over it with a layer of a glaze layer that's going to give it a lot of richness. But this is just giving me my background color. So this is a light gray I mixed up with the white, the black, the cerulean blue, a little water, applied it with my flat brush, and I am going to let this dry for a full 24 hours, and then we will come back and build upon it.